I changed my name the moment I turned 18. Not for fun, not for rebellion, but for survival. I paid $150 at a courthouse to erase my father's last name from my identity. Because for 12 years I was present, but never truly chosen. Then, at my graduation, everything finally snapped. And after the judge signed the papers, I sent him a message that only had 3 words, and somehow, that was enough to break everything he built on silence. Now, let me take you back to the summer I was 6. The night my father packed a duffel bag and told me he'd be back by Friday. I'm 6 years old standing on the porch of our little house in Ridgewater, Missouri. Population. Not enough for a target. Too many for everyone to mind their own business. There's a tire swing in the front yard my grandpa Walter built before I was born. The rope is fraying, but it still holds. My dad is carrying a duffel bag to his truck. Navy blue. I remember the color because I asked him if he was going camping. "I'll be back by Friday, Nat," he says. He crouches down, cups my face with both hands and kisses my forehead. Friday comes. Friday goes. He moves to an apartment 40 minutes east across the county line. Close enough to drive, far enough to excuse not coming. My mom doesn't cry in front of me. She puts on her scrubs, drives to the hospital for her night shift, and comes home at 6:00 a.m. with circles under her eyes so dark they look painted on. But I hear her through the bedroom wall every night for 2 weeks. The sound is quiet, muffled, like she's pressing her face into a pillow. So I won't know. I know. Grandma Ruth moves in the same week. She brings her cast iron skillet, her reading glasses, and a quilt she made from my grandfather's old flannels. She cooks dinner, folds, laundry, drives me to school. She doesn't say much about my dad except this: "Your daddy loves you, baby. He just forgot how to show it." I believe her. At 6, you believe grandmothers the way you believe gravity. Without question, without proof. I didn't know the name of the woman who changed everything. Not yet. But I'd learn it soon enough. Her name is Diane Caldwell. She becomes Diane Caldwell Myers on a Saturday in October when I'm 7.5. The wedding is small. Backyard of her parents' house on the nice side of town. The side with the brick mailboxes and the lawn service trucks parked out front every Tuesday. I wear a yellow dress my mom picked out. Mom doesn't come. She drops me off at the end of the driveway and says, "Have fun, sweetheart. I'll pick you up at 8. Diane smiles at me during the ceremony. She takes my hand afterward and leans down so we're eye to eye. "We're going to be a family now, Natalie." Her perfume smells like gardenias. Her grip is firm. I want to like her. I try. That night, after the cake and the toasts and the sparklers, I'm sitting on the porch steps waiting for my mom's headlights. The screen door is cracked open, and I hear Diane's voice from the kitchen. She can visit Greg, but not every weekend. We need our own space. "She's my daughter, Diane. And I'm your wife. We're building something new here. Linda has her. The girl is fine. The girl, not Natalie. The girl." My dad says something I can't hear. Low mumbled, the voice he uses when he doesn't want to fight. Then nothing. Just the clink of dishes. After that night, the visits start shrinking. Every weekend becomes every other weekend. Every other weekend becomes once a month. Once a month becomes when it works out. And it almost never works out. Diane never says don't bring her. She says let's focus on us. She says Linda has it handled. She says I just want what's best for everyone. Everyone except me. Here's what 12 years of broken promises look like when you write them down. I start keeping a notebook when I'm 8. It's a dollar store composition book, black and white marble cover. I don't write in it because I'm angry. I write in it because I need proof. Proof that I'm not imagining things. Proof that the promises are real and the cancellations are real and the silence afterward is real. Page 1. Dad said he'd come to my piano recital. March 12th. He didn't come. Page 4. Dad said he'd pick me up for Christmas Eve. December 24th. He called at 3 p.m. Something came up. Page 9. Dad said he'd call every Wednesday. Called 3 weeks, then stopped. Page 14. Dad said he'd take me fishing at Cedar Lake like Grandpa Walter used to. Saturday, June 8th. He texted at 7 a.m. Diane's not feeling well. Rain check. Rain check. That's his favorite phrase. Rain checks don't expire in his world. They just pile up until neither of us mentions them anymore. The child support arrives on the first of every month. $743 direct deposit. Never late. My dad holds on to that number like a life raft. I know because the one time my mom's friend asks him why he missed my school play, he says I take care of her. Check the bank statements. Money instead of presents. That's his math. Grandma Ruth watches me fill the notebook one evening. She doesn't read it. She just looks at me over her reading glasses and says, "You keeping score, baby?" "I'm keeping track," I say. She nods. Good. A woman should always know exactly where she stands. I didn't know then that this notebook, this wrinkled, coffee-stained dollar store notebook, would be the last thing I needed before I made the decision that changed my name and my life. I'm 12 the last time I eat Thanksgiving dinner at my father's house. Diane hosts. She's good at hosting. The table is set with cloth napkins. There are place cards and calligraphy, and the turkey is golden brown and Instagram ready. Her friends are there, her parents a couple from their church. When I walk in, Diane introduces me to a woman I've never met. "This is Greg's daughter," she says. Pause. From before, not Natalie. Not my stepdaughter. Greg's daughter from before. Like I'm a piece of furniture left over from a previous tenant. The woman smiles politely and moves on. At the table, there's no place card for me. 14 chairs, 14 cards, 14 names in Diane's careful handwriting. Not mine. I pull up a folding chair from the garage and wedge it between my dad and the wall. My plate hangs half off the table. My dad sees. His jaw tightens. He opens his mouth. "Diane, maybe we can." "It's fine, Greg." She doesn't look up from the cranberry sauce. She doesn't mind. I eat. I clear my plate. I wash my dishes. Then I go to the hallway and call Grandma Ruth. "Come get me, Grandma." She doesn't ask why. She just says 15 minutes, baby. In the car, Ruth doesn't push. She drives with one hand on the wheel and one hand on mine. We stop at the diner on Route 9 and split a piece of pumpkin pie. The waitress calls me hun and refills Ruth's coffee twice. "You don't have to earn a seat at anyone's table," Natalie Ruth says between bites. "You already have one at ours." That Thanksgiving was the last time I set foot in Diane's house for a holiday. I didn't make an announcement. I just stopped going. The year I turned 14, my father forgets my birthday. Not forgets the way people forget to buy milk. Forgets the way you forget the name of someone you used to know completely casually, without realizing it happened, until someone else points it out. July 28th comes and goes. No call, no card, no text, nothing. On July 31st, 3 days late, my phone buzzes. One text from Dad. "Sorry, Nat. Crazy week. Happy belated." 2 words, happy belated. Like I'm a coworker he barely knows. That same month I find the photos. Diane posts them on Facebook. A gallery titled Our Little Family. Greg, Diane, and their friends at a barbecue. Greg and Diane at some charity gala. Greg holding a neighbor's baby grinning. 12 photos. I scroll through every single one. I'm not in any of them. Not one. Our little family. I sit on my bed and look at the word Myers on my school ID. Natalie Myers. I say it out loud and listen for something. Recognition, belonging. Pride, anything. All I hear is the name of a man who forgot my birthday and didn't notice for 3 days. Grandma Ruth finds me on the porch that evening, school ID in my hand. "What are you looking at?" "My last name." She sits down beside me. Doesn't rush. "Ruth," I say, "does your last name ever feel heavy?" She thinks about it. Really thinks. "Then a name is only as heavy as the person who gave it to you, baby. If the person made it light with love, with presence, then you carry it easy. If they didn't," she shrugs, "then it's just weight." Every time someone called me Natalie Myers after that night, I felt it. The weight. The text arrives on a Tuesday afternoon in November. I'm 16, working the register at Mrs. Peaton's bookshop after school. My phone lights up on the counter. "Dad, you have a brother now. Thomas Gregory Myers, 7 pound 4 ounce. Mom and baby doing great." Mom and baby, he means Diane. And the baby. Mom. I stare at the screen long enough for Mrs. Peaton to notice. "Everything okay, Natalie? Fine?" I say. "Family stuff." I delete the text and go back to shelving paperbacks. That weekend, Diane calls Ruth. Not Linda, not me, but Ruth, to announce the news properly. Ruth listens, congratulates her, and hangs up. Then she sits across from me at the kitchen table. Diane called Tommy, their first child, Natalie. She used the word first. I let that land first. Like I was a rough draft. Like the 12 years before, Tommy were a practice round that didn't count. They can call him whatever they want. Grandma. They can, but you were here first and nothing changes that. I don't visit the baby. I'm not invited to the hospital. My dad doesn't ask if I want to meet my half-brother. He sends one text and moves on the same way he moves on from everything that involves me. Quickly, neatly, without looking back. That night I open my laptop and type 4 words into a search bar. How to legally change your name at 18. I'm not angry. I'm just curious. The way you're curious about an exit when a room starts feeling too small. I read the results. I note the filing fee. I close the tab. Then I open my notebook, the dollar store, 1 page 36, and write $200 court fee. I need 8 shifts at the bookshop. I want to pause here for a moment. If you've ever looked at a family photo and realized you weren't in it, not because you were behind the camera, but because nobody thought to include you, then you know exactly what this feels like. Drop a comment and tell me if you've been there. And if this story is hitting home, hit that subscribe button, because what happens at my graduation is something I still think about every single day. 2 months before graduation, I pick up the phone and call my father. I don't know why. Maybe it's the last flicker of that stupid little flame I've been carrying since I was 6. The one that whispers. Maybe this time. Maybe I just want to know for sure. He answers on the 3rd ring. There's a TV playing in the background. I hear Tommy babbling. Dad, graduation is June 14th. I'll be there, Nat. His voice is easy, automatic, the way you'd agree to grab milk on the way home. You said that about the recital. Pause. The TV goes quieter. This is different. I promise. Okay. I hang up and place the phone on my desk face down. I don't feel hopeful. I don't feel sad. I feel the same flat calm I've learned to carry when it comes to my father. The calm of someone who's been handed a lottery ticket they already know won't win, but buys anyway because it costs less than hoping. Downstairs, my mom is packing her work bag for the night shift. She pauses in the kitchen doorway. He said he'll come. He said a lot of things. She nods slow and zips her bag. She doesn't push. She spent 12 years not pushing, not bad-mouthing Greg. Not poisoning the well, just quietly being both parents, while he was somewhere else being neither. I stopped believing in my father's promises, around the same time I stopped believing in the tooth fairy. The difference is, the tooth fairy at least left something under my pillow. That night I opened the notebook. Page 41. June 14th. Graduation. Dad says he'll be there. I leave the line below blank. I'll fill it in after. Graduation day. June 14th. Ridgewater High School football field. Bleachers set up in rows, folding chairs on the 50-yard line for the seniors. The sky is that washed-out Missouri blue that looks like someone left it in the sun too long. I'm in my cap and gown, royal blue gold tassel, sitting in the 3rd row of the senior section, alphabetical by last name. M for Myers. Not for much longer. I scan the bleachers. Grandma Ruth is in the 5th row wearing her Sunday hat. My mom is beside her in scrubs. She swapped shifts with a coworker to be here. Ruth is already dabbing her eyes and the ceremony hasn't started. Then I see him. My father. 4th row, far left. He's wearing a button-down I've never seen. His hair is shorter than last time he came. My chest does something I don't expect. A tightening. An ache that feels like relief and grief tangled together in a knot I can't undo. Then I see who's sitting next to him. Diane. Hair blown out, sunglasses pushed up on her head like a headband. Tommy on her hips, squirming in a little polo shirt. She's smiling, waving at someone 2 rows down, performing. My dad didn't come alone. He brought the whole production. I turn back to face the stage. The superintendent is tapping the microphone. Feedback whines across the field. A kid behind me laughs. I take a breath. I tell myself he came. That's something then. But he brought her. That's everything. Whatever happens on that stage, whatever my name sounds like when they call it through the speakers, it's already a goodbye. I just haven't said it out loud yet. Natalie Ann Myers. The name comes through the speakers like every other name. Quick practiced, moving on to the next before the applause dies down, but I hear every syllable. I stand, smooth my gown, and walk toward the stage. Top 10% of the class. The principal shakes my hand. The dean hands me the diploma sleeve. I grip it, smile for the camera I can't see, and look out at the crowd. Ruth is standing, both hands clasped over her mouth, tears running down her cheeks. My mom is next to her, clapping hard, her hospital badge still clipped to her scrubs. And across the aisle, my dad. He's standing too. Hands together, slow clap, eyes on me. That's the thing that wrecks me. He's standing. For the first time in 12 years, my father is standing up because of me. For me? I walk down the stage steps and my brain starts doing the thing I hate. The thing I've spent years trying to stop. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is different. Maybe he's finally. I reach the grass, and he's there. He steps forward, opens his arms and hugs me. It's awkward. One arm stiff, the other too tight, like he's practiced in the mirror, but the muscle memory is gone. I'm proud of you, Nat. 4 words. The 4 words I've wanted to hear since I was 6 years old. They hit my chest like a fist. I close my eyes. I breathe him in. After shave and coffee and something unfamiliar, maybe Diane's laundry detergent, I let myself have this 3 seconds. 5. I let the 4 words sit. Then Diane opens her mouth. A woman from our church, Mrs. Langley, the one who organizes the bake sales, steps over with a grin. Diane, you must be so proud of her. Diane just Tommy on her hip. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Oh, I'm not her mother. Greg has history. Mrs. Langley blinks, looks at me, looks back at Diane. The air around us shifts. I feel it. The way sound gets thin right before a storm, the way the insects go quiet. Diane turns her head slightly, just enough to make sure the cluster of parents behind her can hear, and she says it. You were never really his daughter anyway. 8 words delivered the way someone comments on the weather. Casual, practiced, like she's been saving this line for the right audience. Nobody speaks. 3 seconds of silence. Real silence. The kind that swallows everything. I hear the wind snapping the flag by the goalposts. I hear feedback from the stage microphone. I hear Tommy fuss. I look at my father. He looks at the ground. That's it. No correction. No Diane stop. No defense. Just his eyes dropping to the grass like a man who's decided this fight isn't worth having. The same decision he's made for 12 years. Ruth is already at my side. I feel her hand on my elbow, steady, warm. The grip of a woman who has held me up more times than gravity. Let's go home, sweetheart. I nod. I don't cry. I don't argue. I don't look at Diane or my father or Mrs. Langley or anyone. I waited 12 years for my father to choose me. He finally had the chance right there in front of everyone, and he chose silence. Silence was his answer, and I finally accepted it. That night I sit on Grandma Ruth's back porch. Crickets, fireflies blinking over the tree line. The smell of honeysuckle and cut grass, the kind of quiet that only small towns and wide-open grief can make. Ruth comes out with 2 glasses of sweet tea and settles into the rocker beside me. She doesn't ask about the graduation. She doesn't mention Diane. She just sits, rocks, and waits for me to be ready. Tell me about Grandpa Walter, I say. She smiles. The kind of smile that lives in memory, not in the moment. He was a carpenter. Built this house with his own hands before your mother was born. Cut every board, hammered every nail, took him 14 months. And the name Ashford, Old English, means a ford by the ash trees, a crossing place. She sips her tea. Your grandfather liked that. Said a crossing is where you leave one thing behind and step into something new. I turn the word over in my mouth. Ashford. It sounds like roots, like something built, not borrowed. Grandma, can I ask you something always? If someone's name doesn't feel like theirs anymore, is it wrong to let it go? Ruth stops rocking. She looks at me, not with surprise, not with pity, with recognition, like she's been waiting for this question longer than I've been alive. A name should feel like home, Natalie. If it doesn't, you have every right to find one that does. She doesn't say drop your father's name. She doesn't say take ours. She just opens a door and lets me see what's on the other side. I look out at the fireflies. Somewhere in the dark, Walter Ashford's ash trees are still standing. The next morning I sit at my desk and open my laptop. The search bar blinks. I type how to legally change your name at 18 in Missouri. This time, I don't close the tab. The process is straightforward. File a petition at the circuit court. Pay the filing fee $150 in our county. Wait 4 to 6 weeks for a hearing date. Appear before a judge. If there are no objections and no legal reasons to deny it, the judge signs the order. After that update, Social Security driver's license, school records, new name, new documents, new everything. No one's permission required. At 18, it's my decision and mine alone. I open my banking app. $31,247. Every dollar earned at Mrs. Peaton's bookshop. $9.50 an hour. Shelving paperbacks and running the register after school. Enough for the filing fee, the document updates, and a little leftover. I do the math. My birthday is July 28th. If I file the petition during my birthday week, the hearing should fall around early September before community college orientation. I'd walk into my first class with my new name. I pick up a pen and open the notebook page 43. Below the long list of broken promises and canceled visits, I write 2 words in careful block letters. New name, Natalie Ashford. I look at it. I say it softly to myself. It doesn't sound like revenge. It doesn't sound like anger. It sounds like the name of someone who chose her own crossing. I close the notebook. Between the pages, there's a folded slip of blank paper. The kind you tear from a legal pad. I don't know what I'll write on it yet, but I know it'll be short. Some things only need a few words. 2 weeks after graduation, my phone rings. Dad. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. But there's that stubborn thread, thinner than spider silk. Strong enough to make me swipe. Nat, about what Diane said. Which time silence. I hear him breathing heavy like a man carrying something he doesn't know how to put down. She didn't mean it. Dad. She's been meaning it for 12 years. I'll talk to her. You've been saying that since I was 7. Another pause. I can picture him standing in his kitchen, one hand on the counter, eyes closed. The same posture he uses when the world asks him for something and he'd rather be anywhere else. I'm sorry, Nat. I know you are. That's the problem. He lets that sit. I think he wants to ask what I mean, but he doesn't. Part of him already knows. And that's the part he's been avoiding since the day he packed that duffel bag. Let me see you, he says. Just us. No, Diane. I'll drive out this Saturday. Okay, Dad. Saturday comes at 10:00 a.m. A text. Diane's not feeling well. Can we reschedule? I read the text once. I set the phone on my nightstand. I go downstairs, eat the pancakes my mom made, and drive to the bookshop for my afternoon shift. Page 44. Dad canceled again. Diane's not feeling well. That's the last entry in the notebook. Not because I stopped keeping track, because there's nothing left to track. The line between hope and pattern recognition finally snapped. And for the first time in 12 years, I'm standing on the right side of it. My father ran out of promises, and I ran out of patience to believe them. July in Ridgewater is thick. The air, the humidity, the gossip. I spend most of it inside Mrs. Peaton's bookshop, where the AC rattles like a dying engine, but the shelves smell like old paper and possibility. I pick up extra shifts not just for the court fee anymore. I've got a partial scholarship to Ridgewater Community College, but books and supplies aren't covered. Every hour on the register is another textbook, another semester of not owing anyone anything. Mrs. Peaton watches me organize the summer reading display one afternoon. She's 72, wears bifocals on a beaded chain, and has never once asked a question she doesn't already know the answer to. You're saving up for something specific, Natalie. Not a question, a statement. Something I should have done a long time ago. She nods, slides a stack of returns across the counter, and leaves it at that. That's what I love about Mrs. Peaton. She understands that some conversations aren't finished yet. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I help her run the summer reading program for the elementary kids. I sit cross-legged on the carpet and read picture books to 7-year-olds who still believe in happy endings and fathers who come home when they say they will. One girl, Maddie Gap-Toothed Pigtails, brings me a crayon drawing of her family every week. Mom, Dad, Maddie, and a dog named Biscuit, all holding hands, all smiling. I tape each one to the bulletin board and pretend the tightness in my chest is just the heat. At home, my mom notices the extra hours. She asks over dinner casual, stirring her iced tea. You're working more than usual. I'll tell you soon, Mom. I just need to be sure first. She looks at me, nods, trusts me enough not to press. The phone call comes from Mrs. Langley, the same Mrs. Langley from graduation, the bake sale organizer, the woman who watched Diane deliver the line that cracked my life in half. Natalie. I don't want to stir anything up, but I thought you should know. She tells me she was at Diane's house for a Bible study group. In the hallway, there's a wall of framed photos. The family wall, Diane calls it. Mrs. Langley had seen it before. Greg and Diane's wedding holidays, Tommy's newborn shoot. But there used to be one photo near the bottom. Greg holding a little girl with messy pigtails. Me, age 4, sitting on his lap at some county fair, cotton candy in one hand. That photo is gone. Now replaced with a studio portrait of Greg, Diane, and Tommy matching outfits, white background. The kind of photo that screams, "This is the real family." She said she updated the wall. Mrs. Langley says, I thought you should know. I thank her. I hang up. I sit on the edge of my bed for a long time. She didn't just remove a photo. She removed the proof that I was ever part of his life. She edited me out of the family like a typo, corrected, deleted, overwritten with something she liked better. I don't call my dad. I don't ask why. I already know why. Diane needed a clean story, and I was the smudge. I opened the notebook. I read every page. 8 years of broken promises in my own handwriting, evolving from round little kid letters to the tight, sharp print I use now. I read the last page. New name, Natalie Ashford. I close the notebook, set it on my desk, and say one word out loud. Okay. July 28th, my 18th birthday. Morning light through the kitchen window. My mom has baked a lemon cake, my favorite since I was 9. Grandma Ruth brings sunflowers from her garden, still wet with dew, wrapped in newspaper. Happy birthday, baby, Ruth says, kissing my forehead. 18. Your grandfather would have made you a rocking chair. We eat cake for breakfast because there are no rules on birthdays. My mom sings off key. Ruth hums along. The kitchen is warm and yellow and smells like sugar and butter and home. At 9:47 a.m., my phone buzzes. Dad, happy birthday, Nat. 3 words. No call, no card, no mention of seeing me. Just a text that takes less effort than ordering a coffee. I set the phone face down on the counter. My mom sees. She doesn't comment. After breakfast, I sit my mom and Ruth down at the kitchen table. My hands are steady. My voice is clear. I want to change my last name to Ashford. The kitchen goes quiet. Ruth's hand finds mine across the table. My mom doesn't speak right away. She looks at me the way she looks at X-rays at work, carefully, thoroughly checking for fractures. Are you sure this is what you want, Natalie? Not what anger wants. I'm not angry, Mom. I'm done waiting. She holds my gaze, searching. Whatever she finds there, it must be enough because her shoulders drop and she nods. Slow, certain. Then it's your decision. Ruth squeezes my hand. Her eyes are bright. I'll drive you to the courthouse. I push my chair back. The cake is half eaten. The sunflowers lean toward the window. My phone sits face down on the counter, still carrying my father's 3 words. I leave it there. The Circuit Court of Ridgewater County is a 2-story limestone building with a flagpole out front and water stains running down the columns like old tears. Ruth parks her Buick in the side lot, kills the engine, and turns to me. Ready, ready. I'm wearing a white button-down shirt, the one my mom ironed that morning, without being asked, pressing each crease flat, like she was sealing an envelope. I don't know why the shirt matters, but it does. It feels like armor. Inside, the clerk's office smells like toner and floor wax. A woman behind the counter with reading glasses and a lanyard looks up when I approach. I'd like to file a petition for a legal name change. She hands me a form, 4 pages. I fill it in at the counter. Pen steady, print legible. Current legal name, Natalie Ann Myers. Requested legal name. I pause. Think of Walter. Think of Ruth. Think of ash trees and crossing places. Natalie Ruth Ashford. The middle name addition is a decision I make right there standing at that counter. Ruth doesn't know yet. The clerk reviews the form. Reason for name change? Personal. I'd like to carry my mother's family name. She nods. No judgment. No questions. Filing fee is $150. I pull a white envelope from my purse. Inside 15 $10 bills, counted 3 times at my desk last night. I slide them across the counter. Hearing will be scheduled within 4 to 6 weeks. You'll receive a notice by mail. I step into the hallway. Ruth is sitting on a wooden bench purse in her lap, ankles crossed. It's done, she asks. It's filed. She stands, wraps her arms around me and holds on. She doesn't say a word. She doesn't need to. 3 weeks later, the notice arrives in the mail. Hearing date September 8th. I fold the notice, slip it inside the notebook, and continue my shift at the bookshop. It takes exactly 4 days for the small-town engine to do its work. Someone at the courthouse knows someone who knows Greg. That's how it goes in Ridgewater. Information travels faster than light, and twice as far. My phone rings on a Thursday evening. Dad? His voice sounds different, higher, tighter. The pitch of a man who's just been handed information he wasn't prepared for. Nat, someone at the courthouse told me you filed papers. What's going on? I'm changing my last name, Dad. You can't do that. I can. I'm 18. Why would you? Because it hasn't been mine for a long time. I hear him swallow. In the background, Diane's voice sharp, asking, "What's wrong?" He covers the phone with his palm, but I still catch it, muffled, distorted. The sound of a man being pulled in 2 directions and choosing the easier one every time. Natalie, please let me fix this. You've had 12 years to fix this. Diane didn't mean stop. The word lands like a door closing. He goes quiet. I can hear him breathing through his nose. The sound of someone who's run out of arguments but isn't ready to stop talking. I love you, Nat. I know. Goodbye, Dad. I hang up. My hands aren't shaking. My voice didn't crack. I feel the same flat, clear calm I felt the day I filed. The calm of someone who's already crossed the river and isn't looking back. He calls 4 more times that week. I don't answer. There's nothing left to say that $150 and a court date haven't already said for me. So my father found out and I could hear it in his voice. Not guilt. Not yet. Fear. Fear of what people would say. Fear of the story the whole town would piece together once they saw the name Natalie Myers disappear from the records. If you think he should have felt guilt instead of fear, drop a comment. And if you're watching this far, thank you. The hearing day is coming, and I need you to see what happened inside that courtroom. Diane doesn't waste time. Within days of Greg's phone call, she launches her campaign. Not loud. Diane never works loud. She works through whispers, phone trees, and carefully placed comments at the right tables. My mom tells me about the call. Linda's voice is flat, the tone she uses when she's angry, but too disciplined to let it show. Diane called me at work. What did she want? She said. You're humiliating her husband. What did you say? Linda leans against the kitchen counter, arms crossed. I said her husband humiliated his daughter for 12 years. I almost smile. She said, you're ungrateful that they paid child support. And I told her child support isn't parenting. Diane doesn't stop with Linda. She calls 2 women from her Bible study group, Greg's cousin in Springfield, and a neighbor. The story she tells is consistent, polished, and completely reframed. Natalie is doing this to punish Greg, to get attention, to hurt the family, during a vulnerable time with a new baby, with Greg working overtime. Some people nod along. People who know Diane, who've sat at her Thanksgiving table and admired her calligraphy place cards. But others, the ones who were at graduation, the ones who heard the 8 words, they don't nod. Mrs. Peaton at the bookshop sets her bifocals down and says, that woman said what she said, and now she's rewriting the script. My old history teacher, Mr. Donovan, sends me an email. Proud of you, Natalie. Always have been. Diane's counter-narrative has a fatal flaw. The graduation happened in public. Witnesses remember. Stories stick. And in a town like Ridgewater, The truth doesn't stay buried, just because someone with nice stationery tries to cover it up. September 8th. The morning is cool for Missouri. First hint of fall threading through the humidity. I put on the white button-down shirt. Same one. My mom ironed it again. Ruth drives. Linda rides in the back. Nobody talks. The radio is off. The only sound is the Buick's engine and the cicadas screaming their last songs of summer. The courtroom is small. Nothing like the movies. Wood-paneled walls, fluorescent lights, the faint hum of a ceiling fan that's losing the fight against the heat. A clerk sits to the left of the bench. The judge's nameplate reads, Honorable Patricia Marrow. I take my seat at the petitioner's table. Ruth and Linda sit in the gallery behind me, first row, shoulder to shoulder. I check the rest of the room. 2 other cases on the docket this morning. An older man petitioning to restore a name after divorce. A young mother adding a hyphen. No Greg, no Diane, no one from the Myers side. The chair across from me is empty. Judge Marrow enters. We rise. We sit. She opens my file. Petition for legal name change. Natalie Ann Myers to Natalie Ruth Ashford. She looks up. Studies me over her glasses. Any legal objections filed? The clerk checks. No objections on record, Your Honor. The judge turns to me. Young lady, you understand, this is a permanent legal change. Yes, Your Honor. And this is your decision made freely. It is. She holds my gaze for a moment, then she signs the order. The pen scratches against the paper. A small sound, the sound of 12 years ending in one stroke. Effective today. Your legal name is Natalie Ruth Ashford. Behind me, Ruth gasps. I hear her inhale catch the middle name. She didn't know. I turn around. She's crying. We step out of the courthouse into September sun. The limestone columns throw long shadows across the parking lot. A squirrel sprints across the flagpole base. Everything is ordinary, and nothing is the same. Ruth takes my left hand. Linda takes my right. We walk like that 3 across, linked all the way to the Buick. Nobody talks until we reach the car, and then everyone talks at once. Ruth Ashford. My grandmother says, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. You put my name in there. You earned it, baby. I didn't earn anything. I just showed up. That's exactly what earned it, Grandma. Linda opens the car door, stops, and pulls me in. She holds me the way she used to when I was small. One hand on the back of my head, the other pressed flat against my spine. I feel her rib cage shake. I'm proud of you, she whispers. Right now, right here. We get in the car. Ruth starts the engine, then kills it. We're stopping for ice cream, she announces. 3 scoops non-negotiable. We drive to the dairy barn on Route 9, the same place Ruth took me after that last Thanksgiving. The same place we've been going since I was small enough to need a booster seat. Ruth orders butter pecan. Linda gets strawberry. I get mint chocolate chip, same as always. We sit at the picnic table out front, legs sticking to the metal bench, ice cream dripping faster than we can eat it. I look down at the court order folded in my purse. Natalie Ruth Ashford. Black ink on white paper. Legal final mine. I didn't feel victory. I felt something quieter. I felt like myself that night. I sit at my desk under the lamp with the crooked shade, a white envelope, a single sheet of paper, a pen. I've been composing this letter in my head for weeks. The first draft was long. Pages of everything I wanted to say. Every missed birthday, every visit, every time Diane said something sharp and he said nothing at all. I wanted to lay it all out line by line, so he couldn't pretend he didn't know. But then I realized he does know. He's always known. The problem was never information. It was choice. He chose Diane's comfort over my existence. He chose silence over defense. He chose the path of least resistance every single time. And 12 years of least resistance carved a canyon between us that no letter could bridge. So, I don't need paragraphs. I don't need arguments. I just need him to hear the one truth he can't explain away. I uncap the pen. I write 3 words. She was right. 3 words. Diane said I was never really his daughter. And his 12 years of absence, his silence at my graduation, his empty chair at my hearing, made her right. She didn't speak a prophecy. She described what he built. I fold the paper once, slide it into the envelope. Then I reach into my purse and pull out the court order. the copy the clerk gave me. I tuck it in beside the note. I write his address on the front, same address he's had since he married Diane. I peel a stamp from the roll Ruth keeps in the junk drawer, press it into the corner. I walk to the mailbox at the end of the driveway, open the door, set the envelope inside, close it, lift the flag. Done. I don't follow up. I don't call. I don't drive by his house, or check his social media, or ask anyone what happened when he opened the envelope. The letter is a period at the end of a sentence, not the start of a conversation. But Ridgewater is Bridgewater, and walls are thin, and people talk. 3 days after I mailed the letter, my mom comes home from a hospital shift with that look. The look that says she knows something she hasn't decided whether to share. Denise at the front desk says Greg Myers hasn't been himself this week. Came into urgent care for a blood pressure check. Looked like he hadn't slept. I don't ask for details. I don't need them. The following Sunday, Ruth hears from her friend Margaret at First Baptist. Greg came to the morning service alone. No Diane, no Tommy. Sat in the back pew, head bowed the entire hour. When Pastor Davis asked if he was all right, Greg shook his head and walked out before the benediction. Margaret said he looked like a man who just read his own obituary, Ruth tells me. I nod. I don't feel satisfaction. I don't feel pity. I feel the strange, hollow weight of a door I closed myself. The knowledge that it had to happen and the ache of knowing what's on the other side. I go to work. I shove the new shipment of fall releases. Mrs. Peton asks if I want to adjust my name tag. Yes, please. She prints a new one on the label maker, Natalie Ashford. I pin it to my apron. It sits where the old one sat. Same spot, different name. Mrs. Peton looks at it, looks at me and nods once. Good for you, Natalie. That's all. And that's enough. He shows up at the bookshop on a Wednesday. The bell above the door jingles. I'm behind the register pricing used paperbacks with a sticker gun. I look up, and there he is. My father standing between young adult and self-help, which feels like a metaphor too obvious to ignore. He looks bad. Wrinkled shirt, stubble past the point of intentional eyes, red-rimmed like he's been rubbing them all morning. He smells like coffee and something sour. Nat, can we talk? We are talking. He winces, takes a step closer. His hands hang at his sides like he doesn't know what to do with them. I didn't know it was that bad. I set the sticker gun down. Yes, you did. I should have. You should have done a lot of things, Dad. He stands there absorbing it. I watch his jaw work, his throat move. He's trying to find the right sentence. The combination of words that will unlock the door. I closed, but there isn't one. Some doors don't have keys. They have hinges that only move in one direction. Can I fix this? You can't unring a bell. And I don't need you to. I just needed you to know why. Those 3 words he says, voice cracking, were the truth. And you know it. He looks at me. For a long moment, he just looks. And I see something I've never seen in my father's face before. Not anger, not self-pity, recognition. The slow, awful understanding of a man who's finally seeing the wreckage he drove past every day for 12 years. He nods once, then he turns and walks out. The bell jingles again. The door swings shut. My hands shake for 30 seconds. I grip the counter until they stop. Then I go back to pricing paperbacks. In a town like Ridgewater, you don't need to press your ear to a wall. The walls talk on their own. Within a week, the story reaches me in fragments passed through the network of church ladies' grocery store encounters, and over the fence conversations that form the circulatory system of every small town in America. Greg and Diane had a fight, a real one, not the carefully modulated disagreements Diane usually orchestrates, but the kind that shakes windows and sends neighbors to the far side of their yards. The details come through Mrs. Langley, who heard from her neighbor, who lives 2 houses down from the Myers place. Diane, this is your fault. You let her do this, Greg. And this is the part that everyone repeats. The part that travels farthest because people in Ridgewater have been waiting 12 years to hear Greg Myers push back on something. You told her she was never my daughter at her graduation in front of everyone. Diane started to respond. I was just... You were right, Diane. That's what she wrote. She was right. And she is, because I let you make it true. I'm told Diane went quiet after that. Nobody could confirm how long the silence lasted. But the neighbor said it was the first time in 11 years she hadn't heard Diane's voice carrying through the evening air. I hear all of this secondhand. I don't ask for it. I don't comment on it. I don't call my dad to see how he's doing. And I don't call Diane to twist the knife. The 3 words did their work not as weapons as mirrors. And the thing about mirrors is you can't argue with what they show you. You can only stand there and look. In the weeks that follow, the name change settles over Ridgewater, the way all news settles over small towns, in layers each one thinner than the last, until it becomes part of the background noise. Mrs. Peton is the first to say it out loud at the bookshop. She adjusts her bifocals, looks at my new name tag and says, "Ashford suits you." Then she asks me to reorganize the children's section, and life goes on. Mr. Donovan, my old history teacher, the one who wrote me a recommendation letter, sends a follow-up email. "I always knew you were stronger than your circumstances. Your grandfather Walter would be proud." The librarian at the public library updates my card without comment. The woman at the DMV processes my new driver's license with the same bored efficiency she brings to everything. "Smile," she says, and the camera flashes. On the other side of town, the ripples are less gentle. 2 of Diane's Bible study friends stop returning her calls. Not dramatically, not with confrontation, just the slow withdrawal that happens when people decide they don't want to be associated with a story they were wrong about. The graduation incident gets retold at potlucks and hair salons. Each telling, Diane becomes a little more vivid, her words a little sharper. Greg starts attending First Baptist alone. Every Sunday back pew, Diane stays home with Tommy. I don't track any of this deliberately. I hear it the way you hear weather reports passively from the edges of other conversations. I'm busy. SSN update driver's license college enrollment forms. Each one stamped, signed, and filed under Natalie Ruth Ashford. Each form is a small act of construction. I'm not tearing anything down. I'm building something that should have existed all along. A name that belongs to me. It happens on a Tuesday night. Nothing special about it. No anniversary, no trigger. Just my mom and me at the kitchen table. Leftover pasta, and the low hum of the refrigerator. Linda pushes her plate aside and folds her hands. She does this when she's about to say something she's been holding for a while. I've seen her do it before delivering bad news at the hospital. "I never talked bad about your father in front of you. You know that. I know, Mom. I made that choice early when you were small. I didn't want you to carry my anger on top of your own. It was the right call." She shakes her head. "Maybe, but I should have told you sooner that you didn't owe him your patience. It wasn't your job to say that. It was his job to not need you to." That lands. I see it hit. Her chin drops slightly. Her eyes go bright. And for the first time since I was 6 years old, my mother cries in front of me. Not the muffled pillow-pressed crying I heard through the wall as a child. Real tears, unguarded, running down her face in the kitchen light. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from all of it," she says. "You did protect me, you, and Grandma every day. That's why I'm Ashford now." She reaches across the table. I take her hand. Her grip is the same grip she uses in the ER. Strong, steady, designed to hold someone together when everything is falling apart. We sit there for a while. The pasta gets cold. The refrigerator hums. The kitchen light makes everything soft and yellow. "Your father doesn't deserve you," she says quietly. "I know, but I didn't do this because of him. I did it because of me." September 15th, first day at Bridgewater Community College. The campus is 3 brick buildings in a parking lot. Nothing fancy, but the air smells like new notebooks and fresh starts. I'm in the second row of Introduction to English Composition, room 204, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The professor, Dr. Hollis, a woman with short gray hair and a voice like warm gravel, opens her roster. She starts calling names. Adams, Alvarez, Anderson. Each one answered with a here or a raised hand. Natalie Ashford. Here. 1 word. 2 syllables of a name I've had for exactly 7 days. I hear it come back to me from the professor's mouth, and it fits. The way a key fits a lock you didn't know was stuck. Ashford here. Present, accounted for. A girl next to me, red hair, freckles, notebook already covered in doodles, leans over. "Ashford. That's a cool name." Is it Irish English, I say? It means a crossing by the ash trees. My grandfather was a carpenter. That's so much better than mine. I'm Jess Miller. There are literally 4 Millers in this building. I smile. She smiles back. And just like that, I'm Natalie Ashford. To someone who has no idea about the courthouse, the notebook, the 3 words, or the 12 years that led me here. To Jess, I'm just a girl with an interesting last name and a grandfather who built things. I don't tell her the story. I don't need to. The beauty of a new name is that it doesn't carry the old baggage unless you pack it yourself. I open my notebook, a new one, spiral-bound college ruled. The first page is blank. No broken promises, no cancellation dates, just white space waiting to be filled with something I choose. I learn about Greg through the town. The way weather arrives, you don't go looking for it. It just shows up at your window. Ruth tells me over Sunday dinner that Greg started seeing a counselor in Springfield. Drove 40 minutes each way twice a week. She heard it from Margaret at church, who heard it from the counselor's receptionist, because in Ridgewater even therapy can't hide behind a closed door. He's going on his own, Ruth adds. Diane didn't want him to. Said he was making a scene out of nothing. I set my fork down. Good for him. You okay with that? He's doing what he should have done 12 years ago. It's late, but it's not nothing. Greg and Diane don't divorce. That's not how this kind of story ends. Cleanly, dramatically, with papers signed and boxes packed. Instead, the dynamic shifts. Diane's voice in the household gets quieter. Greg's gets steadier. The balance changes. The way a house settles after years of leaning too far in one direction. A month after the hearing, a letter arrives at our house. Handwritten. Greg's blocky print on a sheet of lined paper. No return address, but I recognize the penmanship. I open it at my desk. He writes that he's sorry. He writes that he knows sorry isn't enough. He writes that he's not asking me to come back or forgive or pretend. He writes that he's trying to understand how he let it happen. And he's starting to see answers he doesn't like. The letter is 2 pages long. It's the most words my father has given me since I was 6. I fold it, put it in my desk drawer, and close it. I don't throw it away. I don't write back. Some letters deserve to be kept. Not all of them deserve a reply. The new driver's license arrives on a Thursday. I pick it up from the DMV countersign, the digital pad, and step aside to look at it under the fluorescent lights. Natalie Ruth Ashford, brown hair, hazel eyes, 5'6" organ donor. The photo is better than my old one. Something about the expression. In the last photo, I look like someone waiting for permission. In this one, I look like someone who stopped asking. I run my thumb over the name. The plastic is smooth, the text small and official, the kind of lettering that says, "This is who you are according to the state of Missouri." But it feels bigger than the state of Missouri. It feels like the first honest document I've ever held. At home, Ruth asks to see it. I hand it over. She holds it at arm's length, bifocals in the other hand, and reads every line. "Look at that," she says. "You've got your grandfather's name in a much better photo than mine. You don't have a bad photo, Grandma." "I do. 2019. I sneezed. She hands the license back, and I slide it into my wallet. The same slot where the old one sat. The slot where Natalie Myers lived for 2 years and 3 months. It fits the same way. It weighs the same way. The difference is invisible to anyone else, but I feel it. I feel the absence of a name that never felt like mine, and the presence of one that does. It's not dramatic. It's not cinematic. It's a plastic card in a leather wallet that I'll pull out at grocery stores and traffic stops and moments so ordinary they'll never make a story. And that's exactly the point. My name doesn't need to be a story anymore. It just needs to be mine. That weekend I cleaned my room. Not the kind of cleaning where you shove everything into the closet and call it done. The real kind where you pull boxes out from under the bed and decide what stays and what goes. I find the notebook at the bottom of a stack wedged between a spelling bee trophy from 5th grade and a shoebox full of birthday cards from Ruth. I sit on the floor cross-legged and open it. Page 1. Round, careful handwriting. The kind a 3rd grader uses when she's trying to get every letter right. Dad said he'd come to my piano recital. March 12th. He didn't come. Page 20. The handwriting is sharper now. Leaning forward, the letters getting taller and tighter. Dad canceled the county fair trip. Work emergency. Page 36. Almost my current hand. $200 court fee. I need 8 shifts at the bookshop. Page 44. The last entry. Dad canceled again. Diane's not feeling well. 47 promises. 47 broken, written in ink that changes color across 8 years. Blue, black, purple, back to black because I used whatever pen was nearby. The notebook is wrinkled, coffee stained. The spine cracked from being opened and closed so many times. I close it. I don't tear out the pages. I don't burn it. I don't throw it in the trash with a speech about letting go. I put it in a cardboard box under my bed next to a stuffed bear named Captain and my 5th grade class photo. Things from a life I've outgrown but haven't abandoned. I don't need the notebook anymore, but I keep it because it proves I wasn't making it up. Every promise, every cancellation, every rain check and crazy week, all documented in a child's handwriting that slowly grew into a woman's. Proof that I gave him every chance. I want to be honest with you about something. I didn't change my name to hurt my father. I changed it because carrying his name hurt me. Every time a teacher called Natalie Myers at roll call, I heard the echo of a man who said he'd be back by Friday. Every time I signed my name on a test or a job application or a birthday card, I was writing the signature of someone who chose not to show up. For 12 years, I believed that if I was good enough, grades high enough, behavior perfect enough, patient enough, my dad would come back. He'd see what he was missing, and he'd choose me. He didn't. And I want you to hear this part clearly. That was his failure, not mine. A child shouldn't have to earn her father's presence. Presence isn't a reward. It's a responsibility. The 3 words I wrote in that letter weren't revenge. They were a mirror. And sometimes a mirror is the only thing that can reach someone who spent years looking away. I don't know what happens next between me and my father. Maybe he keeps going to counseling. Maybe he writes more letters. Maybe one day, years from now, I'll open that desk drawer and write back. I don't know. But I do know this. Whatever happens, it'll happen on my terms with my name in my own time. If you're carrying a name, a relationship, or an expectation that doesn't feel like yours, you're allowed to put it down. Not out of hatred, not out of revenge, out of self-respect. Because self-respect isn't something someone gives you. It's something you build one decision at a time until it holds your weight. My name is Natalie Ruth Ashford, and for the first time in my life, my name sounds like me. It's October now. The ash trees along Grandma Ruth's property line have turned gold. The porch light throws a warm circle on the floorboards. Crickets. The smell of wood smoke from someone's chimney down the road. I sit in the rocker on the left. Ruth sits in the one on the right. 2 cups of chamomile steam curling in the cool air. We've been sitting here since I was small enough to fit on her lap. And the rhythm hasn't changed. Rock forward, rock back. Let the silence do the talking. You know what your grandfather would say right now, Ruth asks. What? She grins. The slow, full grin she saves for moments that really matter. He'd say about damn time. I laugh. Really laugh. The kind that starts in the chest and works its way up until your whole body is in on it. Ruth joins in her rocker, creaking faster, her tea sloshing over the rim of the mug. We laugh until the crickets go quiet and the porch light flickers. Then we settle back into the easy silence that only 2 people who trust each other completely can share. I look up. October sky full of stars. More than you ever see in a city. Somewhere behind those stars, Walter Ashford is out there. The man who built this house, who planted these trees, who gave his name to a family that carries it with pride. Hey, Grandpa Walter, I say to the sky. It's nice to finally meet you properly. I'm Natalie. Natalie Ashford. Ruth reaches over and squeezes my hand. Her palm is warm from the mug. Her grip is the same grip that's held me steady my entire life. And that, I say, is my story. That's my story. And if it made you feel something, anger, relief, recognition, I'd love to hear about it. If you really like our videos, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.